Good morning, YouTube. This is Rochelle Tannen. It's May 4th, 2022. It's about 6:30 in the morning. I've been up since 3. I like to get up early. As you can see, my mic in the corner. I was setting up my at-home studio. But I wanted to jump on and talk about student loans because there's a lot of talk in the news about student loans. I have student loans, a lot of them. I'm going to stop out. How many schools did I go to? I think I went to 3 schools, so I have a considerable amount of debt, as do a lot of people. And I'm listening to the news. Joe Biden is playing this game where he doesn't want to forgive loans, even though he campaigned on it to buy votes. Never trust someone that has to buy votes. That's just a little sidebar. Now it seems to be an issue forgiving this debt. It should be forgiven. I was watching some Caucasian guy down in Florida. He's a baby boomer. He's in my parents' generation, my late parents. And I'm listening to this man talk about, we shouldn't have to pay student loan debt, and you knew the debt you were getting into. Let me say this. At 18, most American citizens do not have the financial sophistication to understand student loans. Now, granted, a lot of younger people of today understand student loans a lot better because they see how us late Xers and millennials got knocked out the fucking box taking out loans trying to better ourselves. So they're a little more savvy. But even Gen Z and Gen Alpha, that's soon to be teenagers and things, no one should have to take out this amount of debt to better themselves, not in the United States. I am so sick and tired of boomers particularly talking about what debt should be paid and all this other shit when they're the most selfish generation on the planet. Right now, a lot of boomers and early Gen Xers, the ones born in about 64 to about 70, you guys had the country at a beautiful time when production was made in the country. You could take out student loans and discharge them and bankrupt them. A lot of the old doctors, dentists, engineers, and things we see every day that are baby boomers, they bankrupt their loans back in the 80s and 90s. Then as I was a teenager and people my age were at the end of the 90s, they changed the rules. Now all of a sudden we can't bankrupt anything. This same YouTuber says, oh, well, what would that help? Right now, most millennials and late Gen Xers, we can't even afford to buy houses because you guys are so greedy. Much like in '08, you inflate the housing values. Then when it drops, most people are going to lose these homes just like in 2008. And these are people in my generation and the generation under me. And it's not fair. It's not fair at all. Now, this YouTuber was saying, oh, well, you knew the debt you were getting into and all that. That's fair. If that's your opinion, fine. But on the other hand, you ones born in the 50s, you guys had 60 or 70 years to save, invest, pay off houses and things. So why are you all crying about Social Security? And Medicare, in which a lot of you boomers are pulling out your Social Security early. And Medicare. And I know that for a fact with Medicare because my job involves a lot of Medicare. You got boomers that are in their late 50s, early 60s. They're not even 60, 62, 63. They're already collecting Social Security and Medicare. That's a few years too early. Hell, some of them are early Gen Xers. They're 50, 52 years old already getting Medicare and Social Security. How the fuck does that work? Especially with someone like myself. My sisters and I, we've already buried our parents. My mother died in 97. My father died in 2020. Why do I need to take care of your old ass? Have your kids do it. You do it. I am so tired of these old people talking about the young when they're the ones who changed the fucking rules. You guys changed the rules. And because I hate the word young, because everyone's young these days. I'll say younger and middle age, because I'm in midlife. You guys changed the fucking rules. And then you still talk like this is 1985 America. 1955 America. It isn't. Right now, these same dinosaurs are allowing corporate entities to buy up houses from coast to coast. How the fuck are we supposed to get into a house if a corporate conglomerate owns it? And you inflate the prices of these houses so we really can't afford it. And God forbid if you are one of these people in your 30s, 40s, or even 20s that had the nerve to start a young family. I guess you guys really don't deserve help. I guess you should pay student loans, buy a house, and take care of your young family, and pay astronomical taxes on these houses, cars, and all that. And just be happy with it. But keep in mind, the generation talking all this shit, they got to go to school, private schools, for $2,000 a year. Or if they didn't, they got to just bankrupt the debt. How the fuck is that fair? Now, Mr. Biden is touting how he forgave $1.7 billion in student loans. That's a fucking lie. This is why I don't like Biden. I don't like his supporters. I don't like his cabinet. He's soft. He has no balls. And he's a liar. He didn't forgive all that student loan debt. That's not what happened, guys. What happened was, Navient, who holds my student loans as well, they were staring their customers into forbearances, so the interest was stacked. They weren't telling the borrowers other options. So what happened is they had to forgive, and they were giving loans to for-profit schools. You know, your ITT techs, those scams. They were giving loans, subprime loans, knowing that a lot of these people couldn't pay these loans back, and a lot of these schools, those for-profit schools, are scam. They knew that shit. Your University of Phoenix, all them scam-ass schools. So they had to forgive those loans. And they settled for $95 million, and they had to pay people like me that were impacted by their forbearance practices. I know this is a fact, guys, because last week, I went to go check my P.O. box, and I always keep a P.O. box. I like my eBay packages and my mail to always go to P.O. box. I don't care where I'm living. And if I get a mansion, I'll still have a P.O. box. I think I learned that living down south. I don't know why I like post office boxes, but I do. So I get this card last week when I go to pick up my mail. This card, and I just bought this laptop, guys. I love the laptop. The camera's a little grainy, but it'll make it work. This postcard, as you can see, this stamp from PA, the Commonwealth. This postcard was sent to me, letting me know that I'll be getting a payment from Navient because of their unfair practices. I assure you that $1.7 billion had nothing to do with Joe Biden. Nothing. He's forgiven nothing, as though he should, especially in the times we're in. So we're supposed to come out of a pandemic and pay all this interest and shit that has been stacked up. How are we supposed to move if you're 40 and under? Or hell, I'll take it a step further, 50 and under. Now, I know a lot of boomers who have taken out student loans for their grandkids. What about them? They don't deserve the debt. They did work. And no one should ever be penalized, not in the United States of America, for going to school to better themselves. I don't care if it's a trade school. I don't care if it's the university. If you're going to better yourself in society and your skill set offers something to society, i.e. a doctor, i.e. a nurse, lawyers, all these type of people, no, they shouldn't be straddled with debt, because you people weren't straddled with debt. See, with the baby boomers, they truly, and don't get me wrong, because there's things I love about my parents' generation, but there's a lot of things I don't. You guys did to fuck over the younger people. I heard it put very well about the baby boomers. They forgot in the Constitution, it reads about and I'm going to butcher this word, but it's a fancy word to say the generations that come after. They said, fuck us, including their kids. Me. And they're still doing it. Like the boomer that was talking about student loans. Now, he'll say that about student loans, but here it is. You're crying about not getting enough in Social Security, and what about us seniors and this, that. Fuck you, seniors. I take that back. Fuck most of you seniors. Because a lot of you have kids that you dote on, that you paid for. Shouldn't your kids be helping you with some of your expenses? Shouldn't they want to help you with your expenses if you're in your 60s? Also, you guys, again, had the country where you could go to school for damn near free. You can buy houses. A lot of you ones that are younger don't know, at the end of the 90s, when the boomers were in their 30s and late 20s, this country had a surplus of money. The country was doing very well. So you mean to tell me you motherfuckers didn't save anything? Maybe if you didn't buy so much Starbucks in the last 20 years and your iPhones and spoil your kids and teach them it's all about them and pay for your kids, you would have enough money and wouldn't need Social Security. See, when Bush back 20 years ago now was talking about privatizing security, I was all Social Security. I'm all for it. Matter of fact, this morning I just got an email from Social Security with my statement. And I hit my credits way back in my 20s. So anything I'm doing with Social Security should be extra. But the baby boomers are so greedy, Social Security probably won't be there by the time, Lord willing, I see 60-something. That's why I want them to privatize it. Cut me a check. I don't want to take care of your parents. I don't want to take care of these boomers. Because in my estimation, you guys had it good enough. And you're still screwing over the younger generations. I don't say this often, but the little kids I see walking around now, they're so screwed. They're so screwed. And this administration is acting like everything's everything. The economy's doing so well. Joe Biden, when I watch him, sometimes I wonder how you people got duped. How you got duped. He's a liar. If you just listen to the things he says, he's a liar. He takes credit for things he has nothing to do with. And it's very sad, actually. It's very, very sad. And it's only going to get worse because we got 2 more years of him and Kamala. Speaking of that whore, where is she? Where's our First Lady, Vice President? Why isn't she tackling some of these issues like student loan debt, housing prices and things? She is the VP, but you never see her. What is this? And in my opinion, yes, a big portion of student loans should be paid back. And also, let me add, because I used to work with this guy here in Pennsylvania in the suburbs. His name was Mario. Shout out to South Philly, you know. And he was saying he moved back in with his parents. And he had like 80 grand worth of debt. He went to St. John's here near Philadelphia or in Philadelphia. He had like 80 grand worth of debt. And he was telling me he paid like $40,000 or $50,000 back. And he was saying, well, I don't think student loans should be forgiven because what about people like me who paid it back? I absolutely think people like him should get a rebate on that money. No one should be penalized for bettering themselves in the United States of America. Now, not the boomers aside, let's talk about single mothers that have been on state since they started making kids. How come they don't have to pay this back? Not just single mothers, a lot of these baby daddies. Why don't y'all got to pay back all this welfare you collected? Because a lot of these women, if you do the math, they're getting 40, 50 grand a year in benefits. If you include Section 8 housing, food stamps, Medicaid, and all these other little incentives, they're almost incentives to be a fucking single mother that these women get. These men, the fathers of these children, never have to pay back. So you mean to tell me if you had the wherewithal to try to better yourself in America, you have to pay that money back. But if you were irresponsible and made 6, 7 kids, 4 or 5 kids, and the government's been taking care of these kids, they ain't got to pay that shit back. They don't never have to get off welfare. Hell, some of these women's mothers were sitting on welfares in the 70s and 80s. When they gonna have to pay some shit back? How come they don't have to pay nothing back? Why is it just the students or people that were students or people that want to better themselves? Why do we have to pay this back? Keep in mind, boomers didn't have to pay back their student loans. People that sit on state don't have to pay back the state. But we're getting shadowed between 50. I've heard people have $120,000 worth of student loan debt. How the hell are you going to move with that type of debt strapped to your back? I don't understand. Now, and I'm not going to go past 15 minutes. In my estimation, guys, Biden is going to forgive some of these loans for one reason. It's not because he gives a damn about the people. Most of those politicians don't give a damn about the people, especially the younger Americans. They could give a shit. If they do forgive anything, much like if they cut another Fed check, another stimulus check, it'll be before the midterms. They don't give a fuck about us. They care about keeping power so they can finish destroying what's left of this country. And I find it to be very sad. But as I end this video, guys, if you got Navient as your student loan servicer, I'd highly suggest you check your mailbox, P.O. boxes, emails, because I got an email from the Attorney General. I'm not sure what all states are included, but it's a multi-state lawsuit. If Navient holds your loans, you guys make sure you find out if you get a piece of that $95 million settlement. And if you didn't get a postcard, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys the number and the website to go to check and see if you're eligible for. I don't care if it's $2. I want it. The phone number is 1-833-630-1416, and you can inquire if you're a part of that lawsuit. You could also visit Navient, capital A, capital G, settlement.com to find out if you are entitled to a piece of this $95 million. Because I'm going to take that little check they give me, which it isn't much, but again, I don't care if it's $2, I want it. And I'm going to save it. So again, that phone number is 833-630-1416. Find out if you're entitled, guys, especially if you're 50 and under, especially in this economy, every little bit helps. This is Rochelle Tannen. I'm out. You guys have a good Wednesday.